Israel assassinated Ismail Haniyeh. Ismail Haniyeh, for those of you who don't know, is the Politburo chief of Hamas. He is not the military commander, okay? He is not a part of the Hamas military wing at all. He is the politics chief, the political bureau chief, okay? As in the main guy who was a part of the negotiations process, the guy who was free to travel from Qatar to Turkey to also Tehran. He was in Tehran for the inauguration of the new Iranian president. But regardless, the way that you need to understand it is like he is basically like a diplomat, and his job and his responsibility in this circumstance is the facilitation of the ceasefire negotiations, okay?
Hamas leader overnight that could have major repercussions for the war in Gaza. Ismail Haniyeh, a political leader who is one of the chief negotiators in the ceasefire talks, was killed in Iran just after attending the inauguration of the country's new leader. This comes on the heels of another major assassination of a top Hezbollah leader in Lebanon. Imtiaz Tayyib is in Beirut. Imtiaz, good morning.
Good morning. Well, it really does feel like the Middle East is on the brink of a major escalation following what appears to be 2 assassinations carried out by Israel in a matter of hours, including here in Beirut. Now, one of the men killed, Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas's political chief, has been a key negotiator for a ceasefire and hostage release deal with Israel. But any potential agreement is now in major jeopardy.
Chaos in the immediate aftermath of the Israeli airstrike in the southern Beirut neighborhood of Dahya. When we arrived shortly afterwards, hundreds had gathered after learning 4 people, including 2 children, were killed and at least 70 wounded in the attack.
Well, you might be able to see over my shoulder that building over there that was damaged in that Israeli strike. And as you can imagine, it's a scene of real chaos here, but also one of real anger.
In a move almost unheard of, the Israeli military claimed responsibility for the strike and named its target.
Fuad Shukur, also known as Said Muhsin, Hezbollah's most senior military commander and the head of its strategic unit.
Israel says Shukur was responsible for a rocket attack on a soccer field over the weekend that killed 12 young people in the Golan Heights. But before Hezbollah could even respond to his apparent killing, Iranian state TV announced another major assassination. Ismail Haniyeh, the leader of Hamas's political wing. While Iran blamed Israel for the killing, Israel has remained silent. But it's triggered panic in the Iranian capital, with the Revolutionary Guard ordering an immediate overhaul of the nation's internal security. The assassination has other major implications too. Haniyeh was leading ceasefire and hostage release negotiations for Hamas and was widely seen as more moderate and pragmatic than Hamas's military leaders who, after nearly 10 months of brutal warfare, continued to battle Israeli forces in Gaza. The fear now is those talks could be completely abandoned.
Yeah, that's the major issue here, is that there's obviously always going to be internal conflict within any organization. There's internal conflict within, the Knesset in Israel, right? And Yahya Sinwar is seen as a more, obviously he's the military faction leader. So Yahya Sinwar is seen as like a significantly less moderate figure in terms of the Palestinian resistance than Ismail Haniyeh is. After all, he's the one who's literally negotiating the fucking ceasefire deals. So assassinating the fucking moderate guy who's talking to you about the ceasefire negotiations is the most insane thing you can do if you want to do the ceasefire deal to begin with and release the hostages to begin with. But they don't want that. Israel has never wanted that, especially Benjamin Netanyahu does not want that. Okay? Are you sad Hamas leader is dead? Brick dumb chaser. I'm sad that the Israeli hostages are not returning home. I'm sad that the Palestinian hostages are not returning home. I'm sad that there is no ceasefire in sight. I'm sad that our brutal, violent, barbaric attack dog in the Middle East is completely unleashed and doing whatever the fuck they want to do and escalating tensions with the hopes that daddy, the United States of America, American soldiers, American military men, and women will go and defend Israel when they do this kind of shit and get retaliation.
And this morning, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said all-out war in the region is
Mohammed Deif, as far as I understand, is still not confirmed.
still not inevitable. But following Israel's attack in Beirut and the assassination in Tehran, that may be wishful thinking, as Hezbollah, Hamas, and now crucially Iran will no doubt respond.
Now, why the fuck are we in this suicide pact when the obvious situation here is reining in the fucking attack dog by telling him no more weapons? That's it. That's all you need to do. Like, you just have to say, if you're America in this circumstance, all you have to do is say, hey, you don't want to do this fucking ceasefire that we presented, that we keep repping, that we keep actually fucking pointing to as a good deal, that people are finally asking, demanding in the Western world even. Okay, no more weapons. That's it. It ends tomorrow. It ends yesterday. Now, the other side of this story is that Israel only responds to violence, as in Israel only backs down when they actually see some kind of significant harm to their population. They respond with extra violence when it's obviously an enemy that they consider to be a weak enemy that they can punish by fucking destroying every matter of civil life in the Gaza Strip. But they backed away from further escalations when Iran sent in a fuck ton of drones, including showcasing that they are capable of striking inside of Israel, military bases and whatnot. Okay? Hezbollah did a similar move when they showed drone footage. Okay? Israel also had to back away from their invasion of Lebanon when Hezbollah pushed them out. Like, you're basically telling everybody, if you actually show us that there will be consequences for our actions, then we'll back away. That's what they're teaching everybody. They're like, no diplomacy with us. We're rabid. Here is what Secretary of State Antony Blinken had to say about the Haniyeh operation that Israel conducted.
Haniyeh was involved in ceasefire talks in Gaza. What impact is his death going to have?
Well, of course, I've seen the reports. And what I can tell you is this. First, this is something we were not aware of or involved.
Great, man. Thank you. The New York Times report says the plan being considered by Iran may be to do another combined attack on Israel with allies in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen using missiles and drones, but this time targeting military sites in Tel Aviv and Haifa. Last time it was military bases in the desert. Yeah, it was in Negev that they hit. However, Hezbollah didn't participate in the large attack in April. This time they may do so. Germany just asked citizens to leave Lebanon while it's still possible. I think England said similar things as well. A lot of the Western nations are trying to fucking evacuate their citizens out of Lebanon as quickly as possible because the region is now gearing up for fucking war. Great stuff overall. Anyone at this point that still tries to maintain the position that like Israel is always looking for a partner in peace but can't find it is the most delusional person on the planet. Now, do I fault them for being this delusional? No, because every aspect of the media is covering it as though it's Hamas that's like fucking up the bag, fucking up the deal over and over again. But it has always been Israel. Like, you're in the midst of a hostage negotiation. America wants you to do the hostage negotiation. The entirety of the Western world wants you to do the hostage negotiation. International organs of justice have declared you to be a fucking war criminal, your leadership. The International Criminal Justice Court has declared Israel to be an apartheid. Everyone is basically saying exactly what's going on, and Americans are just going, la, 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 can't hear you, can't hear you. They had a fucking pro-rape protest like this 2 days ago. The fact that we are going in 10 toes down on this like genocidal apartheid regime in this like weird suicide pact is insane.
It's very hard to speculate, and I've learned over many years never to speculate on the impact one event may have on something else. So I can't tell you what this means.
Haniyeh.
That sounds fake. Yeah, of course it sounds fake because it's like unimaginably cruel. It's insanely cruel. It sounds utterly psychotic. Except if you watch my last video on it, Israel just had its own January 6th moment. Let's get to this. You will see where I talked about it. This 60-minute video will go through all of the details of why the Knesset held an emergency meeting where Benjamin Netanyahu's own Likud party Knesset member actively said, yes, shoving a metal rod in the ass of a detained Palestinian in the Sdei Teiman facility, which was covered for months at this point by even Western media for having like horrific acts of rape be conducted, a concentration camp that is not actually for Hamas militants, but simply people suspected of being Hamas militants, a concentration camp where they release 40% of the detained Palestinians in a matter of weeks after raping and torturing them, by the way. That concentration camp had 9 of the jailers get arrested by the Israeli government. What did the Israeli public do? They went to the fucking prison and the military courts and tried to personally release the fucking 9 detained soldiers. Now, why did Israel try to actually do some justice here in this one specific instance? It's because they are under investigation by international organs of justice, and they want to avoid getting penalized for it and actually getting punished for it. They want to use the principle of complementarity, the idea that there's due process inside of Israel for war crimes, therefore no international organ of justice can interfere in their affairs, as a mechanism, as a shield. That's why they wanted to fucking do it. That's why they arrested the 9 people. They detained them. Something that you have to remember, something that you have to consider is that the people that were protesting were not protesting because of the rapes that were occurring in the Sdei Teiman concentration camp. They were protesting because they were pro-rape. Okay? That's the country that we have a suicide pact with right now. That's the country that we're letting ride. That's the country that we're riding in the battle for. So fucking insane. Yeah, this was a older post from Vincent Bevins. In the final years of the South African apartheid, the white government decided it must, 1, overthrow the government of Angola, 2, install a puppet regime in Namibia, 3, attack Zimbabwe, 4, attack Botswana, 5, attack Zambia in order to survive. This did not work. They are going through the exact steps that every fucking prior white supremacist fascist government has gone through. It is a damn near identical circumstance to Nazi Germany. It is a damn near identical circumstance to apartheid South Africa. And Israel has been given a wonderful exit ramp from the resilient Palestinian people to have a South African apartheid ending, which it refuses to do so. And it seems like it will have a Nazi Germany ending instead. The only difference in this dynamic is that America is unconditionally riding with Israel.